Hey everyone, Rotoworld's Josh Norris and Patrick Daugherty here to help you find some value at the wide receiver position. Pat, a lot of players right now are being taken below where their ADP should be. And let's help the people find some great opportunities and some great players at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Alison. There's some debate if he'll be the number 2 or number 3 receiver. It's probably going to be the number 3 receiver. But in the early days of camp, he confirmed he's going to be in the slot. We know Aaron Rodgers, his entire career, has loved to target the slot position.
Yep.
Pro Football Focus's Scott Barrett pointed out that he's targeted the slot on 25% of his career attempts, Aaron Rodgers. And Allison's a potential mismatch in the slot. 6'3", over 200 pounds. He was off to a great start last year before getting hurt, had almost 300 yards. The Packers' his first 4 games, and he's going like the mid-40s, almost wide receiver 50. He's being drafted as like a low-end wide receiver 4. And even if Marquez Valdes-Scantling, is the clear-cut number 2, Aaron Rodgers is a guy who's made 3 receivers fantasy viable many times in the past.
And they're very different types, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like Geronimo Allison's going to be someone that's not a safety blanket per se because he can create big plays as well, but he's going to play the slot. Meanwhile, MVS might be more of a best ball, high variance type who can win down the field and put up peak weeks, spike weeks, but might not be as consistent as Geronimo Allison. In fact, Pat, in the ADP I'm looking at, MVS, 46, wide receiver, Geronimo Allison, wide receiver, 47.
Yeah, and that could kind of yo-yo all summer depending on who's getting hyped at the current moment. But I just think Allison's slightly safer, slightly better, higher floor.
Pat, this will be the 27th time this offseason I talk about this wide receiver, but his name is Dante Pettis with the San Francisco 49ers. He averaged a whopping nearly 19 fantasy points per game across the last 4 games that he started in the 2018 season. I think my biggest question, and really my only question for the 49ers, is if Jimmy Garoppolo is good. And I'm not necessarily certain he has to be good in order for George Kittle and Dante Pettis to both be fantastic receiver options, because we've seen that Kyle Shanahan can manufacture space and volume and opportunity, and really good opportunity at that, with Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard. Right now, Dante Pettis is the wide receiver 32. Pat, it wouldn't shock me at all if we see a 1,000-yard season from Dante Pettis. And in fact, I'll take it a step further. Wouldn't shock me at all if we see 100 receptions from Dante Pettis this year. And that's on the border of wide receiver 3 territory he's being drafted at right now.
Yeah, I mean, he could finish with 12 or 1,300 yards in a best-case scenario. And like you said, even if Jimmy Garoppolo is not good, which I think he is, Dante Pettis finished the season on a tear last year, with C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins. So he's the guy the 49ers really believe in. They traded up for him last year. He kind of delivered basically on his pre-draft profile. And, basically, you can't get me any higher on Dante Pettis than I already am myself.
I mentioned wide receiver 32 for Dante Pettis. Sammy Watkins is going as wide receiver 29. Jarvis Landry is going as wide receiver 28. Something's wrong in the world right now.
Easy over both of those.
Pat, we got 2 more. Hit us up with one.
I'm going to go with DeSean Jackson, who's never been the most fun guy to own, especially in PPR. He can leave you with some 0-point weeks, but I've seen some places going north of wide receiver 50.
Wow.
People just really underrate DeSean Jackson. They underrate in the modern fantasy where it's so much about compiling in PPR. They kind of underrate big play guys. And, the Eagles last year, Carson Wentz, one of their main problems, took a huge step back on deep passing. The year before it, Pro Football Focus charted him with a QB rating north of 100 on attempts, 20 yards more down the field. Last year, that was down to 70, just because he didn't have a deep threat. Now he's one of the best deep threats in the entire NFL. And DeSean Jackson, he's 32, going on 33, posted the 3rd highest yards per catch of his career last year. Still an explosive talent, still one of the fastest players in the NFL, and in a better situation than he was last year. And to me, after wide receiver 50, that's like free money, basically.
And there has been no receiver that Carson Wentz has played with of the caliber and style of DeSean Jackson. Pat, I'm seeing right now that D.D. Westbrook is being taken well ahead of DeSean Jackson. Would you rather have maybe Nick Foles as number 1 wide receiver or DeSean Jackson, who, yes, might be the 3rd option, but he's playing with Carson Wentz and maybe one of the best teams in the NFL?
Yeah, and it's going to be like the same DeSean Jackson. There's going to be like 0-point weeks, but there's going to be like week-winning type performances. And again, the current ADP is just ludicrously low.
For the 7th season in a row, Pat, I'm going to nominate Devin Funchess. Devin Funchess
Leave me out of this one.
Being drafted as the wide receiver 50. And now with the Indianapolis Colts, he's still just 25 years old. Just 25 years old. And Pat, it's not like he hasn't produced previously. We're just 1 season removed from Devin Funchess having a 63-catch, 840-yard, 8-touchdown season. He was 23 years old at the time. He's younger than Kenny Galladay. I believe. And I understand. I understand that really outside of Eric Ebron, T.Y. Hilton was the only pass catcher that was consistent. In fact, I believe he was the only one that exceeded 9 fantasy points more than 4 times last season. Can you name the other wide receivers he was playing with, though? It was Chester Rodgers. It was Ryan Grant. It was Dontrell Inman. It was Zach Pascal. Are they real people? Like, Devin Funchess is certifiably pretty good at football, and playing with Andrew Luck, I love it at wide receiver 50.
I would feel a little better about Devin Funchess if they converted him to his natural position of tight end, Josh.
No, I think that he is a really, really good fit and could honestly take a lot. Didn't Eric Ebron score 14 touchdowns last year?
That's not going to happen again, obviously, as we know.
Because they're going to go to Devin Funchess.
And yeah, part of the positive case to make, too, is you have one of the best GMs in the league
Yes.
went out and aggressively targeted this player. And it's talked about how he was kind of like a missing element in their offense. But there's some other new faces, Paris Campbell and things, talking up Mo Alley Cox. It's a deep offense, so that could be the concern, that even if Devin Funchess has a great year, it just doesn't translate to consistent fantasy value.
But we talk about trying to find those breakout offenses and not, pay a huge price for them. I think the Colts are definitely one. Like, if you go into a draft or exit a draft with Andrew Luck, Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, or maybe instead of T.Y. Hilton, it's Devin Funchess, I think that could be really interesting. And again, they're much cheaper options. Thanks a lot, Pat. Thanks all of you for tuning in, and for more rankings, projections, strategy, and advice on how to dominate your drafts, check out the all-new Rotoworld NFL Draft Guide. Now mobile optimized, it has a new look and feel, ladies and gentlemen. It's never been easier to take our award-winning advice with you to your drafts for that extra competitive edge. Just go to rotoworld.com/NFL Draft Guide for more.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.